always provides. It's just not how you expect. The field, what is the field? The field is the spiritual realm where we cannot see at any given time all around us, inside of us and all around us. Whether you believe that or not, it's 100% true. And it's more true if you actually cultivate the inner world more than the outside. This is what a lot of people are missing, is this inside job of doing the inner work, allowing life and what it presents to us to deal with those things that have been conditioned into us. They're not good for us. So the field always provides, it's just not what we expect. What does that mean? Let's break it down. What that simply means is we have an ego and an expectation that thinks that things have to come a certain way, whether that's through hard work, sweat and toil, working long hours in order to save up for time and distance in order to buy something that we want. And then we save and save and we scrimp and we work the extra overtime hours to get something. And that takes 3 times as long. But the field, on the other hand, is the quantum realities of life itself. It is the very existence of life. This outer world is just an embodiment, a casing, a house, if you will, of the real life on the inside of us. That's our authentic self, which is the spirit. And it's giant. It's as big as the cosmos. It's as big as all of the galaxies combined. And by the way, when God said, let there be light, he didn't say stop, as far as I know, and it keeps bursting galaxy after galaxy after galaxy. Now, you may not believe in God. I don't know how people do it. If they don't, God is simply love, not a religious entity or deity or figure that burns people. No, that's religion. That's man-made doctrine that had some kind of agenda attached, even though it meant well, I'm sure, in the beginning. It's still man-made scaffolding that actually hurts people because it doesn't allow them to go past the gatekeepers. It always has gatekeepers attached somewhere, some way, somehow. Hierarchical structures that have gatekeepers that tell you what to do and not to do. And if you do this, you're going to get hurt, you're going to get burned. And I know some people mean well in that, but we are not. I figured out something in my life. Didn't really figure it out. I awakened to it and realized that we're not called to fix anyone. We're not called to, quote, help anyone unless we're asked. And when we're asked, then we have full permission to go in and help that person change a tire, help them with some kind of thing on the outside, right? But the internal help, quote, unquote, help, only comes from the inner world with your cooperation with God. And so when it comes to provision, when it comes to getting anything material, that comes by way of tuning into it at the same frequency to match that frequency so that it can step right on into our lives. So it will provide, but it's not according to our expectation. Our expectation often is skewed. It's wanting something out of need, wanting something out of woundedness, wanting something to prove something to somebody else. And so when we're looking at the quantum reality, the quantum realm where God lives, it's not so easily given up if we're still in want and need. This is why when people beg God in prayer, or they beg in general, it often stays away. And in fact, it pushes it further away because God doesn't respond to need. Yeah, I hate to burst your bubble there. It just doesn't. Responds, the field, the spirit realm responds to like energy, to like frequency. So for example, when Christ walked the earth and other spiritual masters, teachers and all those that came before and after Christ just happened to be the embodiment of full-on love, God, the universe himself. Others were really going into this realm as well and saying, look, I want to show you a more effortless way of doing this. You remember the story about feeding of the 5,000. If you didn't, then I'm going to tell you now. There's a story in the Bible about 5,000. Jesus feeding 5,000 people that had no restaurants, no cafes, no kitchens, no food storage. They were out in the middle of nowhere, and they all got hungry. They were hot, sweaty, thirsty, hungry. They'd been listening to Christ all day, teaching his good stuff, and Christ noticed it. Told his disciples, he said, look, go get them some food. And then the natural response is, because of perception, because of conditioning and programming, the natural response is, oh my gosh, I got to go get a job. I got to go in fact, it's going to take me at least a year and a half to save up enough money to feed all these people, men, women, and children, 5,000 plus. It's going to take a whole year and a half. So he tells Jesus that. Jesus says, listen, let me show you something. I'm going to do this in an effortless fashion. I'm going to show you how this works. This actually works. Now, Peter, James, John, all of you, listen in. I'm going to tune into the frequency of gratefulness. I'm going to tune into the vibration. One guy said vibration, rolls his R's. Anyways, I'm going to tune into that realm. And we're going to watch what happens quantumly. We're going to watch what happens when it drops in on you in a quantum hot second. So then he says, oh, Father, thank you that you hear me and you always hear me. Thank you for this bread. Thank you for these fish. Thank you for the multiplication to feed all these people. Boom. Hands it out, tells the disciples, go feed the people. So they hand it out, and it keeps multiplying, quantum. And then they have 12 baskets left over, one for each disciple. How about that? Take home excess and abundance. But it wasn't what they expected. The field provided. God provided. But it wasn't according to their egoic expectation. As much as we want to feel like we're doing the right thing, we may mean well. Most people do. That's not how we get things. Yes, you can get them through grind and hustle and hard work, but that is pure ego going and burning the candle at both ends, and then you wind up stressed out, burned out, and addicted to something, whether it's pizza or beer or drugs or shopaholics or whatever it may be. Hum over hustle, baby. Hum over hustle. That's where it's at. That's where life is. When we hum in that frequency that matches abundance, that matches excess, that matches the overflow, then that trickle that you start seeing, because you're in and out of it first, right? You're trying to learn how this works. And so it takes practice. Starts out as a trickle. Somebody gives you a piece of pizza. Somebody gives you a few bucks and just hands it to you. You didn't work for it. They just give you something. Or you find some money. Or something just drops in on you effortlessly. That's the trickle. And then it begins to move in more of a faucet turning on a quarter of the way. And then here comes the stream. And then the stream turns into a river. And the river turns into the ocean. The more you keep your tone in alignment with those areas of goodness through play and joy and having fun, oh man, watch what drops in as you grow and go and expand in this area. But it's not what you expect. It's not going to be what you expect. Because why? Because you can figure that out on your own. That's in your own effort. And this isn't about your own effort. This is about watching the surprise of God overtake us, because God loves to surprise his kids. He loves to surprise us. The field loves to drop in on us and give us amazement. So let it. Allow him. Allow God. Allow it. Allow the field. Allow this unseen realm to provide for you. By how? Staying in joy, staying in play, staying in gratitude as much as possible. It won't be what you expect, but it'll be exactly what you need right on time. You may want $1 million, but you may not need $1 million right now. You may want a brand new Porsche, but that may not be the best thing for your family, right? You have 4 kids, you have a wife and 4 dogs. A little 2-seater Porsche, nice. You may not need that right now. Doesn't mean you can't have it later. Doesn't mean it won't drop in on you effortlessly at some point because you're keeping your tuning fork tuned into the Porsche frequency. You know what I mean? But this is where we let go and we dissolve the outcome expectations. We don't expect certain things to come in at certain times in certain ways. That's another thing is, if we have an expectation when it's supposed to come, this is where we get disappointed. We get dissed. We diss the appointment because we thought the appointment was going to happen in a certain time frame, a certain way, through a certain person. We've got to lose all that. Some people buy lottery tickets and they think, okay, I'm a good enough boy, I'm a good enough girl. God knows I'm going to give it to the right people. I'm going to bless my family and the neighbors and the homeless and the dogs down the street. God knows my heart. Has it worked yet? No, because you're still in want and need. Anytime we're needy and wanty on the inside, we push what? We push it away. It's like the boat going 50 miles an hour in the water. It's going to push water out away from it until it slows and stops. And then the water does what? The water rushes back in over the back. It's just the way physics works. So let it work without any expectation and watch how you're surprised. All right, hope that helped. Please subscribe. Tell somebody about the Home Over Hustle show and the channels and let them be surprised as well. All right, we'll see you on the next one.